Goeiedag, good day, fellow South Africans and citizens of the world.
I've been looking around for salvation. I've been looking around for the truth. All around me I see frustration, and I looked all over till I found you. I sit and listen to your stories, and you're telling me, please don't worry. There's a lot in this world you should know, and love in life is where you should go. If you're looking for somewhere to go, if you're looking for someone to know, if you're looking for someone to guide you, then love in life will guide you.
Goeienaand, good evening fellow South Africans and citizens of the world, and welcome to tonight's live stream. Perhaps the cornerstone of all South Africa's ills is corruption. It is the sad legacy of a corrupt ANC government, corrupt from the very top to the very bottom. It is therefore refreshing to come across a political movement whose primary goal is to get rid of corruption. Now, before I get our guest on, please remember to subscribe to this channel to be kept informed. There are 2 Loving Life channels, and we have a lot of videos going up every day. Tonight I'm talking to Veronica Maceloni, leader of Amsa, the activist movement of South Africa. All right, let me get Veronica on. Here we go. Hi, Veronica.
Hi, Scott. How are you?
Excellent, thank you. Excellent.
Excellent.
I just see your little icon at the moment.
Okay, let me see. I cannot also see you. Let me see if I...
Oh, no, you won't see me. My streaming software has grabbed my camera.
All right, no worries. I'm trying to turn my video on again, back and on, off and on again. Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, there we go.
While you're doing that, there we go. Now I see you. Great. Can you move your camera down a little bit? That's perfect.
How's that?
Yeah, that's perfect. Absolutely perfect. I love your hat and love your t-shirt.
Oh, you can even see that.
I
I can see
can.
my whole screen.
Absolutely, we can.
Okay.
Now, yeah, love it. Now, before we get on to AMSA, how did you get into politics? What inspired you to get involved into this area?
In actual fact, I must be honest with you, Scott. I just got into politics as a mere employee, just trying to make a living. And then that exposed me to so many injustices that I was actually involved with, because the role that I was doing as an employee with one of the prominent organization exposed me to working closely with public reps, members of parliament, and people on the ground. And
Right.
on a daily basis, I could see the injustice that was actually affecting our people, and that irked me. And it made me decide and make a huge 360-degree U-turn on my career advance. Because originally I was studying industrial psychology. I was a student of industrial psychology when I joined the political organization. Then I completely changed my career path.
Right. Now, how do you rate the ANC's performance over the last 26 years?
Do we even have to go there? Scott, the ANC that we once actually put in power, I was amongst those. I remember the excitement that I had in 1994 when I had the opportunity to place my mark. I did not even mind. Sorry, I'm going to have to turn the volume off from my phone. I did not even mind the long queues, that were there, because of the excitement that I had, that finally I have an opportunity to make my own mark. And in my own eye, that was back in 1994, and I could recall very clearly, I was 30 years old. I was excited, and ANC was the messiah that actually was an answer to what I have seen. Because I've also been part of the 1976 revolutions. And by then I was hardly, 16 years old. I was doing what then was called a Form 1. And seeing this ANC coming on board, I was like, hallelujah, finally, our country is getting somewhere. But now, in the past 26 years, all that dream has gone down the drain. Promises have not been kept. Our country is becoming a laughing stock. Our youth, they don't have a future. Our elderlies, they just vote out of the loyalty because they still hope that maybe that Mandela that they were actually loyal to might be resurrected in some of the leaders that are found in the ANC. So the ANC have lost it. They have dropped the ball completely.
Right. Well, I totally agree with you. And there's a lovely English saying that a fish rots from the head. And if you look at the leadership of the ANC, it is just quite extraordinary. Now, why we're talking about the ANC is because of the level of corruption that it just runs right through the whole organization. And we're going to cover this in a moment, but your organization's mandate is to cut out all corruption in politics. So we'll get to that in a second. Before we do, one of the biggest victims of the ANC and their corruption has been the vast majority of black Africans who are now living in even worse conditions they were pre-1994. Is that a statement you would agree with?
100%. Look, Scott, I would like to say to you before I answer that question, in South Africa, we do have an endemic corruption. In that, as a country, we have now become a laughing stock. In the past 5 years, we have learned that billions have been lost through corruption. Food stolen out of the mouth of the poor, fearless, greedy and heartless officials, they loot coffers freely, knowing that they will get away scot-free. I mean, let's take the recent example. We have the same government investigating itself whenever there is a call for such. And that is affecting every race, color, religion, background. It's not only affecting the blacks, unfortunately. Take for an example the commissions such as the Zondo Commission, costing over 500 million in evidence gathering,
It's crazy.
while being nothing, but just a mere entertainment on TV. No arrests, no concrete, but no concrete action taken against politicians implicated in corruption. And I'm boldly saying to you and the South Africans, corruption is robbing us in more ways than one.
Right.
Whether
Right.
you are black, white, yellow, green, whatever,
Yeah.
you are robbed by corruption.
Well, I think the Zondo Commission is nothing more than a way of delaying anyone actually being charged, because the longer they can make the Zondo Commission go, the longer since that corruption has actually happened, and the less likely it is that anyone's going to be charged. And I think that is the major objective of the Zondo Commission, is not to get justice, but to delay justice so that people never go to court. Would you agree with that?
It's a stalling technique,
Yeah.
Scott. It's a stalling technique. I mean, the pile of evidence is piling and piling and piling on a daily basis. But the tray of arrest is getting emptier and emptier. So where is the analogy in there?
Yeah.
Where are the checks and balances? So what's the point? And whose money is being used to make sure that these commissions take place? The very same taxpayers' money. Hence, I still repeat and echo my sentiment that corruption is robbing us in more than one ways. For an example, you pay more taxes, more for your groceries, more for your electricity, more for your water, more for your fuel, etc. The list goes on and on. Estimatedly, in the last 10 years, 1 trillion of rands have been lost through corruption.
Yeah.
And the Zondo Commission and all these other commissions are nothing but to go and have a picnic and a lunch, maybe it's a lunch date, but at the taxpayers' money, at the taxpayers' expense,
Yeah.
which could have been used for infrastructure development, fixing roads, better services, creating jobs. Come on, the list goes on and on. We know better what this country needs.
Yeah.
Not that they don't even know. I mean, one arrest, if only one arrest could have been made, it would actually have been, it would have been giving us hope that, oh no, maybe the process is long, we understand. But for how long has it been going on? I'm not picking up on the Zondo Commission only. It's just that that's the nearest example that I could think of. But instead, all this money is going into the pockets of unscrupulous, vile, greedy, lying, and heartless politicians.
I
And
totally
secondly,
agree. Now, you look at
Secondly,
you look at Ace Magashula, the Secretary General of the ANC. He is a despicable little man, and that book Gangster State clearly sets out why he should be behind bars, and yet he is one of the leaders of the ANC movement. Now that
Yes.
brings me to your movement, Veronica. You're the leader of Amsa, which is the
yes.
activist movement of South Africa. Please tell us, what is Amsa, and how does Amsa plan to be relevant to our nation?
Absolutely, and thank you for that opportunity, Scott. AMSA, as you say, stands for Activist Movement of South Africa. Every South African has to be an activist. We as AMSA, we are a watchdog, non-political movement who put people first. A watchdog organization that holds government accountable, as well as public representatives, when they are found to be failing communities by fighting issues on the ground on their behalf. Simply put, we are the voice of the voiceless. However, together, we can make it happen. Together, we can hold this government accountable. Together, including those opposition parties that are sitting in parliament and screaming, calling the kettle, the pot calling the kettle black, screaming corruption at ANC. At the same time, they are still enjoying the very same perks with the ANC. So AMSA stands for that. It's an organization that stands for such sentiments. We are actually calling on to those politicians to start putting their money where their mouth is. Let them come down on the ground and join us, and let's fight corruption together. Come on, you and I know what happened in Beirut. If it can happen in Beirut and politicians stepping down, opposition parties stepping down, saying we don't want to be part of this, why can't it be done here? Why do you still continue enjoying first-class air flights, first-class medical aid, earning over 100,000 rand per month, taking your children to first-class schools, enjoying first-class everything, and yet you come back and still call the ANC that is corrupt, while you are being paid from the same pocket, from the same coffers, or the very same taxpayers? Who puts you there? And you're not representing them.
Yeah.
So politicians have failed us. And that is why Amsa was formed, behind this background. Hold every political party accountable, irrespective of your party affiliation. If you don't agree with what the ANC is doing, step out of the office, step out of the door, walk out and say, no, I don't want to be part of that. Stop telling us how much you can, or stop showing us how well you can debate, because that's what most of these opposition parties do. Time for words and action, and debate has gone past. It's out the window. We need to start seeing action now. We're not paying these politicians to just sit there and show how well they can speak English or debate. Some of them, they don't even open their mouth. They only open their mouth maybe twice in a year. Only when they eat, or when they yawn, or when they even chant a useless, irrelevant slogan. And we're not paying them for such. So Amsa says, come down, join hands with us, let us become one and end this corruption, because it is doable. I know someone listening to this may say, yeah, but that is what you voted for. Yes, we are taking accountability. We created the mess. We, the people of South Africa, we are responsible for cleaning up this mess ourselves.
Right. Now, we've got about just over 200 people watching at the moment. I just want to address everybody watching. Please remember to put your questions in the side chat, and I'll ask the moderators to cut and paste them later when we're ready to put them to Veronica. And also, please remember to subscribe to the Loving Life channels. We have live streams most nights at 8 p.m. All right, now, one of the politicians who really disturbs me, Veronica, is this guy Julius Malema. You know, he is really extraordinarily bad. I mean, he's not only corrupt, but he basically incites people to violence in South Africa, which is not a good thing. What are your views on the economic freedom fighters?
Look, once again, Amsa is calling for all South Africans to unite. If you don't join Amsa today, because all political parties have failed, if it is not the ANC, then you are going to be sitting with Julius Malema as your next president.
That would be horrific.
Who is chanting a slogan that says what? Kill the Boer. So if you are not going to join your hands with Amsa, you are going to be sitting with such a president who can only chant, kill the Boer, kill the farmer. And that's all what they know. Brainwashing his followers without even facts. Let's take the click saga for an example. With so much femicide that is going on, do you really need to make a fuss about an advert? I'm not condoning what Clicks does, but does it have to be a priority? If you can shut down or burn or even incite violence to burn such properties and destroy properties, and yet you say you are building South Africa. If you don't wake up, South Africans, if you don't catch a wake-up call, that is what you are going to, now from jumping out of the ANC to the EFF, that is what I will be calling you are getting out of the frying pan right into the fire.
Exactly. Now, the Amsa promise is as follows. We will work with all individuals and groups and organizations and with government and international bodies committed to the fight against corruption, subject only to the policies and priorities set by our Constitution. We undertake to be open, honest, and accountable in our relationships with everyone we work with and with each other. Can you just talk to us about that promise?
Scott, we have more than how many political parties? 56, 55, if my
I've
memory
lost
serves
count.
well. Absolutely. Now, we have become a disillusioned nation that has lost hope. Let us be real. Do you think there's someone who wants to listen to you when you say, hello, I'm another political party? They're just going to walk away and say, oh, here comes another one. What South Africa needs today needs to acknowledge the fact that we have the most useless parliament in the entire world. They are ineffective, they are untrustworthy, they are unreliable. I can go on, uneducated, unprofessional, and wrongfully appointed. And because of this weak parliament, our country continues to slip in a continuous maze of junk status. Soon we are going to become the pariah of the world. That is why South Africans are hurtful. And that is why, among other hashtags, I'm sure you've seen that, you have hashtag #FootSec.
Yeah.
They have no vehicle to channel their anger. So every political party have failed our citizens. Why? Because they are all in it for the perks and nothing else. Now this is where Amsa comes in. Because like I indicated earlier on, those were just but a few perks of what our politicians are earning. There's quite a lot coming to that. Am I still on here?
Oh no, we lost your camera.
Oh, good Lord. All right. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right.
So
now,
you're back, yeah.
Answering your question. Okay, thanks God. Sorry about that. The aim is to awaken South Africans about our current political system, which is weak and have taken away the powers from the voters. Number one, we do not choose parliamentarians. Political parties do. Go and look at your members of parliament. Many of them have no track record of community serving. Now, Amsa therefore was formed against this background because we believe that there is hope. All is not lost. We still have us, you and me. As long as each one of us understands that there is power in unity, you and I alone cannot bring the change desired by many. However, collectively, we can be the change we want to see, just
Right.
as Mahatma Gandhi said.
So one of your main mandates is actually working with other political parties, isn't it?
I beg your pardon?
One of your Amsa's mandates is to work closely with other political parties to form a coalition.
Look, we are mandated by the people. Remember I said we are the voice of the voiceless,
Right.
working closely with communities. If communities across the 9 provinces of this country, they mandate us to go to parliament and become their voice, then who are we to deny them that benefit? And if the communities on the ground feel that we have the capabilities to do that, then so be it. All what we need to do, we have to follow the right administrative channel, satisfy the criteria, comply, and then get the ball rolling. Because at the end of the day, the main objective will be achieved. Root out corruption.
Right.
Get rid of corrupt officials. Deal with them accordingly. Period.
Now, you've just mentioned the word corruption, and clearly that is a huge problem in South Africa. One can agree that South Africa has more than one pandemic, and this, including corruption at its highest. What do you think has led to this situation?
You know, Scott, I get goosebumps whenever actually I answer that one. Our economy is taking a big knock. People lose their jobs, companies go bankrupt, and they are barely surviving. In the meantime, politicians and their friends are making their bonuses of a century. That is corruption. at its highest peak. 500 billion rands, for an example, announced by Mr. President as COVID-19 relief fund, has gone down the drain.
Yeah.
Without any clear accountability from the president, who handed these funds to his thieving rogues without monitoring and transparency. More and more people are still dying because of the quality of PPEs that is substandard. I'm sure you're watching the news on a daily basis.
Yeah.
A recent example that happened actually immediately after the COVID-19 struck, a school resulting with over 200 infections, just because of the poor quality hand sanitizers. Secondly, insufficient supply of PPEs in our hospitals because of excessive price paid for items such as masks and coveralls. If this is not murder at its first degree, then tell me otherwise. Because now, if a child is infected because of a substandard quality of a PPE or a hand sanitizer, this child takes the disease and the virus with her or him home. An elderly or sickly parent gets affected and dies eventually. Who is responsible for that death?
Well, you know, it's interesting you talk about that because there's a growing public opinion that this whole lockdown, which is happening not just in South Africa, it's going on around the world, courtesy of the World Health Organization. The growing consensus with people who've got a brain and who think is that the whole thing is a scam. Because let's take it, what happened to the flu this year in South Africa? It didn't appear. You know why? Because the flu is the coronavirus. And the coronavirus is not as severe as it was claimed. The media have put everybody into a state of panic. You know, here they are wearing masks and washing their hands all the time and stuff like that. But there hasn't been a huge death toll. It's basically been just the same as if it had just been treated like any year with any flu, which is why so many people are now absolutely outraged at what this lockdown has done to the economies of countries. And South Africa has probably been the hardest hit of the lot because it's been handled so incredibly badly by the NCCC. I mean, it's incredible how badly they've handled that. And of course, as you mentioned, the corruption. So let's talk about that. How is corruption robbing South Africa?
I think I put the cart before the horse, but I don't have a problem in going back to that. Corruption is robbing us in more ways than one. I'm going to repeat this until it registers in the mind of each and every South African out there, because it is real. I talked about paying more in your taxes, paying more for your groceries, paying more for your electricity and water and fuel. Let's take for an example, a petrol price increase. People may think that only motorists are affected, which is not true. Because if the petrol price goes up, do you know that even an ordinary man who's buying a loaf of bread on the street is affected? Because the truck that is transporting those products, they are using petrol. And they need to put a price increase on that petrol. Therefore, a price increase on the end product that they are transporting. The taxi that you are using, if you are not a car owner, the taxi owners must increase their taxi fares. So corruption is robbing you in more than one ways. Once again, estimatedly, 1 trillion rands has been lost through corruption. This could have been used for infrastructure, as I mentioned earlier on. But what is it used for, Scott? It's just lining the pockets of these greedy officials. It is just lining the pockets of these ruthless and heartless officials. To add salt to water, to the wound, our very own president, Mr. Cupcake, all what he does, he promises us that we will investigate the matter. Come on. How do you come and investigate me with a mouth full red with tomato sauce and with an empty bottle of a tomato sauce in my hand? And you want me to investigate someone who is looking the same as myself? And you say, go and investigate and come and tell us. Please, you are insulting our intelligence. Hence, in my previous video, I said to Mr. President directly, you are all talk, but no action. His government is failing this nation. His administration needs to be put in place. And that is why Amsa does not mix. We don't mix our words when we say those murderers belong in jail. They should not be walking freely because they have robbed this nation,
Right.
and they still continue to rob this country through corruption and the overnight entrepreneurship that they emerge. They are uprooting from all ends. Everywhere you walk about, you see a new entrepreneurship emerging. From where? They don't even satisfy the criteria, but there they are. Some they have reportedly taken the over 600 worth of millions of rands, and they simply disappeared into thin air. And as usual, that is the end that you'll be hearing of them, and nothing is going to be done. All what we are going to be hearing from my loving Mr. President is we will investigate the matter.
Yeah.
Until when?
Yeah.
So that is why Amsa is standing and say enough is enough. Corruption is robbing us in more ways than one.
Right. I have to say that I think Ramaphosa, you can always tell when he's lying because his mouth moves. Now, someone has asked for your contact details, so I'm just going to read them here. The cell phone number for Amsa is 034 326 8186. That's 034 326 8186. And if you want to email Amsa, email is hello, HELLO, at amsa.org.za. And they have a web page at amsa.org.za. So if you want to contact Amsa, that's probably the best way to go. Do you want to add anything to your contact details, Veronica?
No, that's absolutely that. The website and the Facebook page as well is Activist Movement of South Africa.
Right.
One word.
Okay. Now, you came out strong in your message to the president, calling him a liar, and him together with his members of parliament, thieves and murderers. Do you still stand by that today?
Absolutely. I mean, while in the middle of a pandemic, a global health crisis that robbed many South Africans of their lives and those of their loved ones, all what the ruling government is focusing on is lining their pockets unscrupulously.
Right.
Again,
I totally agree with you.
Our economy is taking a big knock, Scott. People are still losing their jobs even today. Companies are still going bankrupt, and they are barely surviving. In the meantime, these politicians and their friends are making their bonuses of a century. Again, the 500 rand was given out. No accountability, no transparency, no checks and balances were put in place. What did Mr. President expect, really? I hope now he understands the reason why he had to go and knock at IMF doors and borrow more money.
Well, the World Bank as well. What I found extraordinary when you talk about PPEs and corruption is that Ace Magashula's sons actually got these very, very lucrative tenders. And, it's just so rampant, the corruption. It's extraordinary. And nothing has been done about that, has it?
Nothing has been done about that. And that is the reason why I'm calling on to South Africans to start taking ownership. Because it's that and more others that are coming. Nothing is going to be done about that. Trust me on that one.
Right. Now, what was your motive in the speech you made? I believe most people would agree with your message.
Let's face it. Scott, we need to take this responsibility head on. We are experiencing this high corruption because of the wrong choice that we make when electing our political parties. That is why I'm saying we only have ourselves to blame. And that's the motive behind my speech. To awaken South Africans, to make sure that everyone understands that it is therefore our responsibility to ensure that every political party that is in parliament today must take full accountability for the mess we are in. Some of them keep reminding us of their opposition stand. But today, words are not enough. We have heard all that for the past 26 years, please. It's beginning to sound like a broken or a stuck record. We have learned that all these political parties are useless. They must tell us something different, something new, except making speeches like I mentioned earlier on. For Pete's sake, we're paying their salaries not to make speeches, but to act. That is why Amsa has now started a campaign to call on politicians who claim to stand with the people against corruption to put their money where their mouth is and quit. Simple.
Right. Do you think that there's... Look, the ANC are... Unfortunately, the greater black African population, they get hoodwinked very easily by the ANC, because when it comes to the election time, they suddenly give out T-shirts, and they give people money, and they give them food, and they buy their votes. And as long as that behavior continues, I don't see the ANC ever actually been kicked out, even though they did lose about 8% of the vote at the last election. Now, considering that fact, is there anyone in the leadership of the ANC who has actually got integrity? Because the last person in the world we want leading the party, or as president, is Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma. Is there anyone in the ANC leadership who you think has any semblance of integrity?
Unfortunately, the sad reality is absolutely no one. Even if there is a saying that goes, there may be good men and women out there in every bad organization or every bad political party. But for the fact that no one is standing up to fight corruption and facing the facts, and standing up to say, my morals and my values do not allow me to carry on with this, that discredits each and every individual. As long as you are still in the same gravy boat with the ANC. Look, it's just like when we are found in the same room and we are accused of stealing something that has been missing, and it is found in my possession. I'm making an example, and you and I have been in that room for over I don't know how long. There is no way you can walk out and say, but hey, hang on, I was not part of this conspiracy. You are as guilty as I am. Because who knows what have we been discussing? What agreement do we have? Why are we in the same boat in the first place? So you are as guilty as I am charged with guilt. If you do not want to be part of ANC disintegrity and ANC's corruption and ANC filthy mess and all that, then quit. But come out in the open. Stop being a silent partner. Stop being a submarine operator. Let's see where your gas lies. Because you are claiming that you are a liberal movement. Unfortunately, you were part of the liberal movement. The ANC that we saw in 1994 has long gone. This is just another cancer that is killing the nation, and you are part of it.
Right.
You are just like the breast that needs to be removed and cut off if it causes cancer. Then, unfortunately, if you are leukemia, then you're killing the entire system.
Now, I've got a few questions here I'm just going to put to you. They're from people in the side chat. Charlotte Smith says, please ask Veronica if there's a stronger white party if she will join. I guess what she means is if you would work with a stronger white party, like let's say the Freedom Front Plus.
Yeah. Look, the only race that matters to me, I guess that question is about race.
Right.
The only race that matters to me is human race.
I agree.
You don't have to be either red, green, black, or yellow, because I am a South African, and I want what is best for South Africa. I'm born and bred in this country, and if I may not realize my dream now in my lifetime, at least I will die peacefully, knowing that I did lift my pinky finger for my next generation.
Right.
Because I don't want to answer questions whereby even my children may want to spit on my grave or don't even want to go near there and say, but you had an opportunity with all the resources that were made available, with all the opportunities that were there.
Yeah.
You hardly said a word. You kept quiet. So the only race that matters to me is human race.
Yeah.
Come on, you can be white, you can be brown, you can be black. If we share the same sentiment, let us join hands together, because corruption affects us all. It does not affect either the black, it does not affect the white. And this story of the disadvantaged black inequality and all that, it's all under wraps now. People must catch a wake-up call and stop raising a race card every time an issue comes. That is the problem with the people that always play the race card. It's a sense of refusing to take ownership.
Right. Now, Wolfie's asked, please ask Veronica if she saw the video of all that PPE that was dumped in the river. Did you see that video?
I saw that video. And believe you me, then when I wrote this, that's actually what prompted me to make a video to the president, because I realized that my emails and my letters and my phone calls were either disregarded or falling into deaf ears.
Right.
That was horrendous. I can't even find word for that. And do you know that up to date, no one has come forth? Not that the Department of Health does not know who's responsible. Again, there we see the greedy rogue officials who are hiding behind the skirts and the trousers of their fellow family members and friends, inclusive of the president himself. Guess, do you know what actually stopped me from actually following that video? Is because I knew exactly the statement that I was going to get. We will investigate and come back to you, South Africans.
Yeah, which means nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah. Now, what was your motive in the speech you made? You just mentioned that. I believe most people would agree with your sentiments in that speech.
Mm-hmm. Look, I repeat, and I'm going to echo this once again until it registers in the minds of South Africans. The responsibility to bring change lies not with the parliament only, but with each and every one of us. And that is the motive behind my speech. While Amsa is calling for an independent investigating unit, not the ANC investigating the ANC, that is one of the motives. Because here now we are playing a check 22. We're back to square one.
Yeah.
Is that wishful thinking of, no, it's another excited molecule, bad publicity is good publicity for us as an organization. Relax, it will die down. Unfortunately, I have a message for you, Mr. President, if this is going to reach you. Amsa is not going to stop until we get answers. You are still responsible. I am still working on the questions of the speech that you made when you actually eased the lockdown regulation, because you have not been clear on so many of the questions that were put forward.
Right. Now, we've touched on this, but we haven't actually gone into it. And that is the wider ANC voting base seem to be waking up about the corruption. And let's say I'm just one of their voters somewhere, let's say in KwaZulu-Natal. What alternatives have I got as a voter? I'm talking about parties like yours, okay, where you've got a specific mandate and a specific goal to clear up corruption. How are you going to get in the heads of these voters and say, hey, there is a better way? Because I think people are full with the ANC right across their voter base. So how do you actually get their votes?
Absolutely. Listen, there is no better way to make each and every South African understand that the responsibility to bring change lies not with the parliament, but with each and every one of us. Because these political parties have taken us for a ride as just voting for us.
Right.
So after until we catch a wake-up call and smell the coffee, we are going to be going round and round in circles. Time for complaining, time for making speeches, time for releasing such videos must come to an end. It is now time to act. You find people who are so quick to act and criticize. But if you ask them, what have you done? They've done absolutely nothing. Some of them agreed. I cannot really blame them, although I do partly. Because you don't have to actually deter. I understand that we have become a disillusioned nation. We have lost hope. But you cannot stay in your corner and play pity party any longer. Time for pity parties and moaning and groaning must come to an end. It's time to get our hands dirty. It's time to roll up our sleeves. Ladies, it's time to get your skirts tucked in. Put those gum boots on. It's time to make that move. Join organizations within your communities that are organizations for change. We have marched, we have pleaded, we have protested, but it's all falling into deaf ears. Now it is time to make sure. Have you realized, have you noticed how protest actions and shutdowns and marching and burning of tires, destroying of properties, all sorts of violence acts quickly gets and set this government into motion? Because this is a useless government. They have taught us that the only language that they understand is when people take to the streets. So if we can unite as voters and take to the street, not destructively, not destroying properties, not being violent, but with one voice, and act, and show the government that the time to act is now,
Right.
then I'm telling you, this government is going to hear us.
Right. Now, I'm just addressing the people watching again. We've got about 250 people watching. Please remember to subscribe to the Loving Life channel to be kept informed. Mm-hmm. And if you have questions for Veronica, please just put them into the side chat and I will certainly put them to her. Now, I've got a question here, Veronica, from Michelle, who says, can you ask Veronica if she is a Christian?
If I am a Christian?
Yeah.
Yes, I am a Christian.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, yes. Okay, that's the answer. Great. Yeah, all I do is I just put the questions that I get, so we get a wide variety of subjects in here.
Of course.
Now, okay, we've talked about the wider ANC voting base and you know, trying to educate them as to what's going wrong in South Africa. And clearly that is the major challenge that you and Amsa have. And, you know, have you found the mainstream media give you a fair go, or are they just kind of shutting you out like they do other political parties?
Look, because we are not a registered political party yet, mark my words, yet, at the end, remember what I said about if people are mandating us to go to parliament, we will to satisfy the criteria and do just that. Because we are not there yet, we are finding a lot of favor, if I may put, if that's the right word, and a lot of support from most of the live streams. In fact, most of the social media platforms wants to cover the mission and the vision of Amsa.
Yeah.
And we have even joined hands with one of them. I'm sure you have heard of the well-known Move 1 Million.
Yeah.
South Africans, also South Africans from outside South Africa. Because lately, the buzzword is corruption is gone. That's all what is bothering us. That is the pandemic that is destroying this nation. Like I mentioned earlier on and in all of my videos, I do acknowledge that we are experiencing a pandemic era. We may not have a cure yet for this coronavirus, but we've got a cure for this corruption.
Right.
The corruption on its own is a pandemic, and that cure is what I have mentioned. If we join forces with movements such as Amsa. And I'm certain there are such movements out there. That is why I asked you earlier on how many political parties have you got? Because people are like, once you talk politicians, people are like, I don't even want to vote any longer. That brings me to our youth. Every time, everywhere I go, when I talk to the youth, they are like, give me just one reason why should I vote. As you can see, I'm sitting at the corner of the street. I'm even smoking whatever joint because it's an idle time for me. I've got nothing to do. And yet I can show you that I've got degrees and degrees in this, degree in that, degrees in that. So
Right.
we have so much of disillusion. We have become a disillusioned nation at all levels.
Now, one of the visions of Amsa which really intrigues me, and I think you've really hit the nail on the head here. Let me give you a bit of background first. What you've got is some very, very wealthy families like the Oppenheimers, who are literally ripping the guts out of South Africa when it comes to gold and diamonds and stuff like that. And none of that is going back to the wider community. It's just being kept in their back pockets, and they're getting away with it. Now, one of your visions of hope is this. We will ensure that the top 10 firms in South Africa equally distribute the mineral wealth to the people of South Africa. These firms openly eat the resources of South Africa, but do not contribute its profits to the people of South Africa. AMSA will ensure that South Africa benefits from this. Now, can you just expand on that?
Scott, is that not what the Freedom Charter says? In simple terms? Not directed to you, the question, actually. That's what I'm trying to say to everyone out there. I'm sure we all understand what the Freedom Charter says. And the ANC had a very best ideology there. Had they stuck to the Freedom Charter, I'm telling you, we wouldn't be where we are today. One of the lines that the Freedom Charter favors is that the wealth must be distributed among the people.
Right.
And we do not see that happening. So that is what is going to be added into one of AMSA's manifesto, to ensure that the wealth of this country is distributed equally. To ensure, having said that, to also ensure that the grantees, the social grantees, they earn above what they're earning now. If the government can agree on a minimum wage subsidy of 3,500, why not go for the grantees? Because it is the wealth of this country. It is belonging to the people of this country. It is exactly what the Freedom Charter stands for. What is so difficult in implementing that Freedom Charter? Why reinvent the wheel as AMSA if we've got a plain, clear blueprint in front of us to work with, which is not so complicated? It does not need rocket science for someone to go with that. But it only needs someone who is only self-centered, who thinks of themselves only and only themselves, that can choose to ignore the Freedom Charter. So in short, we are saying as AMSA, we are going to rekindle the flame that has been burnt down, that has been killed through the Freedom Charter, and bring it into being.
Right. Now, I guess one of the things that disturbs me about what's happening in South Africa is that back in 1994, I remember that amazing World Rugby Cup final where in 1995 the Springboks beat the All Blacks in a thrilling match, and I think that was the pinnacle of the Rainbow Nation. And since that time, what the ANC have been doing is chipping away at the foundations of what the Rainbow Nation was. And I think one of the most disturbing things to me are the race-based employment laws in South Africa, which they're basically devastating the country, because you've got, especially in very senior positions, you've got people who have been put into a position of power who are a well-connected ANC cadre who hasn't got the competency, and the person who was there before, and I think Eskom is a perfect example of what I'm talking about, where what was a powerful state-owned enterprise. And look at South African Airways, same thing. This black economic transformation, the way it's been used is so destructive. What are your views on that?
Look, let's talk about the Rainbow Nation. That is where the divide and rule started. And we were thrown the Rainbow Nation cloak, to blind us. How many colors does the rainbow have?
7.
I guess 7, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I'm not so good at looking at things up in the sky because of my, But the rainbow itself, it speaks of highest division. That is the exact tool that the divider could have ever used to divide this nation. If you ask my personal view on that one, I don't believe in a rainbow nation. I believe in one nation.
Right.
I believe in one race. The thing of dividing us, because now you are actually awakening the nation to colors. You are making you want me to be aware that there is a red, there's a yellow, there's a green, there's a black, there's a white. And this is actually what is causing a division. And that is where we have lost it as a country.
Yeah.
If I was the ANC, or if I was part of the ANC top officials, then I wouldn't have stuck with the Rainbow Nation saga. That is where the entire thing was messed up.
Yeah.
According to me, Rainbow Nation story must go out of the window.
Right. Now, at this rate, when we're talking about what's happening in South Africa today, do you think ordinary people can help themselves? And if so, how can they help themselves?
Again, the responsibility to bring change lies not with the parliament only, but with each and every one of us. It is time that we wake up and hold our politicians accountable. We cannot passively sit by as bystanders any longer. We cannot afford to become spectators any longer. We need to start acting now. It is about time that each and every South African stands up and make their mark. If it needs you taking the street, joining any other community movement, social movement that are out there, so be it. Because the government, ANC, and all other political parties have killed the goose that lays the golden egg.
Right.
Or rather the cow that has been giving us milk. Soon our very own country will be reduced to ashes. Our children will have no future. People will kill just to get a loaf of bread, trust you me.
Yeah.
And we don't want that. So there is no such thing as I am a helpless South African. We are all helpful if we can put an effort together. If my pinky finger is hurting and I'm a right-handed person, my right-hand pinky finger is hurting, I cannot perform the duties as I'm used to with this whole hand of mine just because of my pinky finger. It serves a major purpose in this entire system of mine. So it does not matter how big or little or major you are. It doesn't matter what you have or what you don't have. Similarly, it doesn't matter what car you're driving. The distance is the same. The destination is the same. If you are getting there, we are going to reach, all of us, but we need to work together.
Right.
So every South African needs to come together and make sure that we get to the root of this and ensure that the whole thing is not about unseating the ANC. We're not here to unseat anyone. We are here to deal with corruption, period.
Right.
But if corruption means taking other people out of where they are, then that's the route we are all going to have to take.
Right. Okay, I just want to address the side chat again and people watching. We've got about 250 people watching at the moment.
Okay.
There's a technical question that's been raised, and Jack has asked, do we delete the live chat after the live stream? The answer is no. What does happen from time to time is that YouTube, for some reason, the live chat disappears. Now, there is a reason the live chat can disappear, and it's something that I sometimes have to do. Like last night when the night before last when we had our jamming session, there was one song in there that caused the entire live stream to be hidden from subscribers. So what I had to do is I had to go into the live stream, trim out the song that was had a copyright issue, and as soon as you do that, the live stream disappears. So all the comments people make disappear if you edit the video. Nothing I can do about it, but that does happen and can happen. I just wanted to cover that technical issue. All right, and please remember to subscribe, guys, to be kept informed. We have 2 Loving Life channels. Now, Marlena has asked, Veronica, is Amsa a socialist movement, and does it support free enterprise and property rights?
Amsa is a social movement, yes, and we do support free enterprise
and property
because
rights.
Look, we understand. Excuse me. We understand where the basis of this is coming from, and we understand the benefit that our people is going to get out of this. And remember what we are saying. What did we say about the wealth of this country going back to the people? This is one other channel through which this can be, the wealth of the people of the nation can be redirected back to the nation. So each and every movement or every platform that actually support that sentiment, we are 100% fully behind them.
Right. Now, there's something I want to talk to you about here. How do we normalize the economy of our country and get it effective again? Because the ANC have completely screwed it up. But what are your plans in actually bringing the country back onto an even keel?
Again, it boils back to us. It boils back to each and every, by us I mean each and every individual, each and every South African. It is our responsibility to ensure that every political party that is in parliament today must take full accountability for the mess that we are in. Up until we hold our political parties responsible, there is no way we can revive our economy from the depression that it is experiencing right now. It has taken a big knock. I mean, how many people have lost their jobs to date? How many businesses are barely surviving to date? I don't even want to go the EFF saga or about the clicks issue. We're talking families there. You look at the people are excited about, okay, the lockdown rules have been eased. We're now on level 1, and now South African and booze is now open and available to everyone. You will think thousands and thousands of South Africans only survive on beers. It is only because South African brewery sits on one of the top that in our stock exchange that is making money, because the government is actually earning from that. So it's not about the lockdown rules being eased down or the economy. The economy is dying. It's dying a slow death. So up until we hold our political parties, our politicians accountable, there is only one way we can actually revive the dying economy that we are faced with. So we still need to stand together. We still need to show that these political parties, because what they do, they just act like a popcorn seed, which only pops when they feel the heat. That is why Amsa is going to turn the heat and get these lazy bums politicians to get up and stand with communities that have put them there, because they have forgotten completely about the people who have put them there.
Right. Now, one of the things that really astounds me is that there is such a high murder rate, and gender-based violence is just off the tracks. You know, it's just crazy. Would Amsa support a move to bringing back the death penalty? Because I think if there was a death penalty in South Africa for basically an eye for an eye, if someone murders someone, well, then they get hung, or however they get executed. What is Amsa's view on this? Because let's face it, the murder rate in South Africa and the rape rate in South Africa is just totally unacceptable.
100%. I agree with you on that one. And it's heartbreaking. Look, one actually would wonder if there's hope for women in this country.
Is there?
Once you talk about gender-based violence. And despite what society has labeled women to be, we are the most powerful beings in the world. And we deserve every opportunity to take up space. Although gender-based violence is a huge issue across the world, as women too, we need to do better. We need to do more. I know that we have protested, we still are protesting, we have marched, we have cried, and all these have fallen, it seems to be falling into deaf ears. Now, it is actually very important and imperative for our political system to revisit the measures, stringent measures that need to be taken into consideration to make sure that a strong statement and a strong message is sent out there. And I am sure, as Amsa, we are certain that there are many more ways than one to actually send a strong message other than the death sentence. I'll tell you why. If I kill you for having done something, I'm actually relieving you from your suffering. And I'm not actually making sure that you pay for what you did. In fact, it is only hurting those that are left behind, because it doesn't matter. You belong to some society or some family. It is actually adding more and more hurt to whoever is close to you. So by so doing, the perpetrator goes, according to Amsa, the perpetrator goes scot-free. Because
Right.
who knows what is happening when you're dead? Are you suffering? We don't know. So
You're dead, you're dead.
rather, you dead. Maybe that is what actually many have been hoping for.
Yeah.
And some of them, maybe they are coward to do it themselves, and they want the system to do it on their behalf.
Now,
I would rather have the perpetrator be punished, experience a punishment that I would label a learning tool, a learning mechanism to go out there and learn from the mistake, if it is a mistake that the perpetrator has committed, in such a way that it does not happen again.
yeah.
You rather become an ambassador,
Well,
which brings more to the men or the perpetrators who actually are found to be the people that are behind this gender-based violence.
yeah.
Men have friends our fathers have friends out there, brothers, uncles. They do have people they can talk to one another, talk to each other, teach and educate one another. There are organizations out there that at least supports and encourages outspokenness. Join these organizations. You don't have to do it publicly, but there are more ways than one that one can do. Learn about how to treat women better. Learn about how to deal with whatever has actually intrigued or actually triggered your actions. Because from a psychological point of view, I'm sure no one wakes up one morning and decides that I'm going to kill a woman. Something has triggered that behavior. Let us get to the root of the problem. Now, Amsa is saying we want to join hands with each and every one, male, female, young and old. Can we get together? Sit around the table together. Can we get to the root of this problem? Some of our brothers out there, they grew up in dysfunctional families, thinking that to show more gratitude or love to your woman is when you verbally or emotionally or physically abuse the individual. And they don't know that actually this is the wrong way to do it, because this is what they have been living with. This is what they have been exposed to. Some of our young brothers out there, they grew up thinking that the only way to make a woman or a female being to understand you is for you to flex your muscles, because they have been exposed to wrong environments. But we as Amsa, we are saying there is hope. We can get together as a nation. We can heal as a nation. We can cry together. And I can tell you right here and now, there are those who are sitting in those jail cells who actually, when they have time to do self-introspection, they're like, actually, I was not even supposed to do what I have done. I don't even know what triggered in me to do that. So we as Amsa, we are saying, let us join hands together, work together with the government. I am sure that there is a solution to this. There is no way that there can never be a solution to whatever problem. The bottom line is we need to work together.
Right. Now, Enduragrip has asked a question, and on this channel we have a really big problem with the Open Society Foundation, who are clearly basically giving instructions to the ANC government when it comes to policy. And Enduragrip's question is AMSA funded by the Open Society Foundation in any way?
AMSA is founded by activists on the ground. We came together as activists in our communities, different communities. It's actually a movement that was working together to hold each and every political organization accountable, despite of its affiliation. Let me use a simple example. If in your area, a councillor is not delivering, despite whether it's an ANC or a DA or an EFF public rep or a councillor, if that councillor is found not to be delivering the basic services that they are mandated to, then AMSA, says, instead of waiting for another 5 years while the councillor is enjoying the perks of being a councillor, that councillor needs to be taken out and be replaced immediately.
Right.
It doesn't matter which party you are affiliated to. It's all about the community. You are there to serve the community. You are there because the people that have paid you, that are paying your salary, have put you there. Despite the fact, like I said, that we do not choose our politicians, political parties do. Now there's again another mandate of AMSA, that people must be the ones that actually put their public reps and members of parliament up there, because they should know the person that they put out there. Not just see, look, when it's election time, I'm sure you've seen that in your area as well. You just see a face on a poster and you are told, vote for this man.
Yeah.
And canvassing is going on and going on. You are seeing the person vote for this man or this woman. You are seeing the person for the first time. You don't even know the person's background. That is why I'm saying most of them, they don't even have community experience. They've never been on the ground. They are being put there for whatever reasons known by their own political parties. For some of the political parties, it's just a tick box exercise, because now they need to meet the deadline of the IEC. They need to submit the names of their candidates. They don't even go through the entire process. So AMSA has been formed along those bases, that it must be. That's why we say AMSA is a people-orientated movement. It must be the people on the ground, activists on the ground, who choose their political and public reps and members of parliament.
Right. Now, I take it from your response that Open Society Foundation are not funding you in any way.
It is.
Okay.
It is.
It is funding you?
I beg yours?
Open Society Foundation, they're not funding you in any way, are they?
No. AMSA is not getting funds from any foundation.
Yeah. You
Sorry,
talked about the activists. Okay, got it. Okay, talking about activists, what role can be played by men?
Like I mentioned, our brothers out there, they have friends, they have fathers, they have brothers. They can talk to each other. They can teach one another. They can educate one another about how to treat women, how to treat their children, and even how to treat themselves. Because you still find men, again, abusing other men.
Right.
So it's a question of, let's have an open-minded conversation. Let's have that round table sessions. You know, when I was growing up in my young days, back in the days, we used to sit around the bonfire and a topic would just come. And in most cases, it would not be just a topic that is a fairy tale story. It will be issues affecting us. You know, you'll find that that is the right platform. And even those, the most quietest people who were not open, who were actually withdrawn, you'll find that tomorrow they're going to be thankful, or they cannot wait to get to the next session of the bonfire because a topic has been discussed or was discussed that was actually benefiting them. So let us encourage these open talks. Let us talk to one another. If you cannot talk to me as your wife or your mother or your sister, you do have brothers out there. It might not be a family member. It might not be your pastor. It might not be your friend out there, but I'm sure someone out there. Because I do know that for some, it is difficult to open up to a total stranger in terms of encouraging maybe psychological session or seeing a psychologist. But open talk helps. Don't bottle think to yourself.
Right.
Today, we've got social media platforms. We've got live chats. You can go anonymous on that live chat. I've seen people saying, I'm asking for a friend. I mean, we know we are all familiar with that line. There's no harm in that, nothing to lose. Use such venues. Let them work for you.
Right. Now, Viking has asked, is it possible to ask Veronica, what group has come against what you are doing? Have you actually got movements that say, no, we don't like what Amsa's doing, we're happy to have corruption, da-da-da-da-da, or people who might be causing trouble for Amsa? Have you had that happen yet?
Absolutely not, hey? Now that you're asking that question, no. Not that I was expecting anyway.
Right, so you've had no problems.
We've had no problems. Instead, we're having groups and people, individuals from all ends, from all walks of life,
right,
actually wanting to know more about AMSA,
yep,
and wanting to know more how more they can help AMSA grow. Which is why I now started answering my question. When a question comes, is AMSA a political movement? I have now started responding by saying it is not a political movement yet, because
right,
one can see where this is going.
Okay, now, what message can you send out to the youth of South Africa?
As young people, you are the future of this generation. The power lies within you. A nation is strong with its young people. You are the generation that this baton is going to be handed over. You are the future of tomorrow. There is no excuse for being a young person and act naive and walk ignorantly. I did mention earlier on that I was also part of the 1976 upcoming and riots. And it breaks my heart today to see how that June 16 day is celebrated. The time for the young people to walk around on that day, I'm going to touch on that, not only, there are many other ways, but that's the only day that I can think of right now. The time for us to see our young people walking around in school uniform, abusing substance, and say they're celebrating Youth Day must come to an end. Let us use this day as a day to commemorate what those young people, those that have died, those that are still alive, those that have even lost their loved ones, maybe left the country for whatever reason, have done that for. Because it breaks my heart to know that over 80 to 90% of people don't even know who Jesse Mashinini is and what it stand for. So it is important, rather than saying, let's celebrate June 16 and go put on uniform and become drunk on all the streets and go and wander around aimlessly. Maybe it's about time you knock at the door of the government and say, back in 1976, in 1994, our parents were made a promise. We are here to collect. We are here for a refund. Why? Because you don't see any of those promises as a young person. But it can only take a brave, it can only take an informed young person, it can only take a concerned citizen, young citizen, to do that. And it can, you and I today, sorry, I don't know your age, Scott. Maybe
I'm an old fart.
I can run this race, but it is my race is limited.
Yeah.
We need someone who we can hand over this baton to. But you don't just hand over a baton. I don't know if you know how a race of handing over baton is planned. You put your fastest runner at the beginning and your fastest at the end to finish this race.
Right.
We don't need someone who is going to be sluggard and miss the mark to hand over the baton to. So we are saying time to play ignorance to young people is over. You cannot just lie, go to bed and play ignorant as if nothing is happening. For the fact that it's not happening to you, it doesn't mean that it's not happening. If it is not affecting you, it is somewhat affecting someone that you know. If it is not infecting you, it is affecting you. So either way, as a young person, you are affected by this corruption. You need to stand up and make a mark. You need to stand up and make it your business, because this is your country.
Okay, fantastic. Look, I just want to quickly address those watching again. Guys, we're going to be wrapping up this live stream shortly. If there are any final questions you want to put to Veronica, please feel free to put them into the side chat. Veronica, I'm going to ask you if there's something you'd like to add to what we've already discussed tonight. Is there a statement or a comment you'd like to make to people who watch this video now or watch it later? And just talking about the video, I'll actually, after the live stream, give you a link that you can put on Facebook. You can send out to your friends, your supporters, whoever. They can actually watch the live stream later. And obviously there are a lot of comments that have been put in the side chat as well. You'll see that I've pulled the questions from those. Yeah, look, I'll just give you that link, so you feel free to share it with whoever you want to. Now, over to you. Is there something you'd like to say to everybody who's watching?
Absolutely, and thank you for this platform. We can bring change. Unite behind Amsa. Let us take the streets in numbers. But before that, we want to give our politicians an opportunity to decide whether they are with us or not. If you do not join hands with Amsa, you are going to be sitting with the next president as Julius Malema. That I can tell you right now.
Wow.
And I'm sure that
awful.
You watch it. So as Scott has mentioned earlier on, visit our website on www.amsa.org.za for our online membership. Share and like our Facebook page. It's called Activist Movement of South Africa. And email us at socialmedia@amsa.org.za. Thank you.
Right. And what I'll do, Veronica, is I'll put the web page and your email address and your phone number in the description below this video, so people even much later can actually contact you.
Thank you so much, sir.
You're very welcome, Veronica. All right, I just want to say thank you so much for the moderators. I think we've had quite a quiet evening in the side chat. I've noticed that there haven't been any deleted messages, which is nice to see. I just want to thank our moderators for keeping an eye on the things there, and especially to Marlena, who does wonderful work in helping me with these live streams, and has been working directly with Veronica to get this live stream happening tonight. For those who've watched the live stream, I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope that you've learnt a whole lot about Amsa. I think it's certainly an organization to watch. It's certainly got its heart in the right place, and that's very important in South Africa right now. All right, so with that, I'm going to wrap up the live stream. I just want to thank our guest, Veronica, so much for joining us tonight. I wish you well, and I hope you have every success politically, and that your movement gains a lot of support. I think your biggest challenge is going to be getting your message out there to the wider population. And I think this is a way to do it, is to get onto live streams and have chats to people and, get that message out there. Thank you so much for being with us, Veronica. All right, guys.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me, and thank you for Melina as well, and you as well for giving us this platform. We need such. And like you say, it's a huge challenge for us, but we will not grow weary until our voice is heard. We are the voice of the people. We are not going to stop talking. Thank you.
Fantastic. All right, guys, I'm going to shut down the live stream now. Please take care, and don't forget, tomorrow night we have another live stream planned and scheduled, and that's going to be a very interesting one, because we're going to be talking to several people about. This is part 2 of the live stream, the livestock export market. You might recall we had the NSPCA, and we had a couple of livestock farmers on last week, and it was quite an interesting discussion. It got quite hot and bothered, but hey, it's good to get this sort of stuff out there, and we can expect a fair amount of I hate to use the word conflict, but there'll certainly be differing points of view in the discussion tomorrow night. So come and join us. That's 8 p.m. Johannesburg time. As I say, it's going to be a discussion about the livestock export market in particular. Please take care, and hope to see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Good night, all. Good night.